Hello everyone. Welcome back to another series of the Hindu based current affairs question where we discuss daily current affairs question based on the Hindu. We discuss around 5 to 7 questions which are based on the news given on the Hindu newspaper for the day. So let us begin with our first question for today. So there was this snippet present in today's newspaper which talked about World Cities Day. So our question here also pertains to the same topic. The question is the World Cities Day was established by. So you have to answer which body or which organization was responsible for establishing the World Cities Day. The United Nations General Assembly, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, the World Bank, or none of the above. I would consider this kind of a difficult question because World Cities Day is not a very popular event as such. So let us go to the answer slide to know more about it. So the World Cities Day is celebrated every day on 31st October. Hence, it was found on today's newspaper of 1st November. It is celebrated every year to highlight the need for international cooperation to promote global urbanization and address its challenges. According to the United Nations, 7 of every 10 people in the world will live in cities by 2050. So, history this was started on 27 December 2013 when the UNGA established the World Cities Day through a resolution. So, with this, we get the answer to our question. The answer is option number A, which is United Nations General Assembly. The first celebration took place in the year following 2013, that is in 2014. Hence, you have to remember that the World Cities Day was announced or started by which organization? So, it was the United Nations General Assembly. Let us move to our second question for the day. So, our second question here is based on writs, a very important topic in your GS2 polity. Why this question? Because this article on the Hindu talks about Tamil Nadu's moves Supreme Court against Governor Ravi over delay in clearing bills, and the Tamil Nadu government has moved a writ petition against the governor. Hence, this question. So, the question is consider the following about writs. Habeas corpus can be issued against the state or private authority. Mandamus cannot be issued for department instruction that is not statutory. Writ of prohibition can be issued against an administrative, legislative, or private body. So you should be very much aware of the details of all the five writs, which bodies can they be issued against and which bodies they cannot be issued against. So I would consider this kind of a medium to difficult question because it is kind of difficult to remember all the details of all of these writs. Let us move to the answer slide in order to get to know what is the answer of this question. So here we are talking about all the writs in detail. So the first writ mentioned here is habeas corpus, and the statement says that it can be issued against the state or private authority. So let us go to the portion which talks about habeas corpus. The Latin meaning of the word habeas corpus is to have the body of. This is used to enforce the fundamental right of individual liberty. In fact, it has been called the bulwark of individual liberty. Against what? Against unlawful detention of an individual. Through habeas corpus, the Supreme Court or the High Court orders one person who has arrested another person or detained another person to bring the body of that person. That is to have the body of that person. Certain facts about habeas corpus. The Supreme Court or High Court can issue this writ against both private and public authorities, but it cannot be issued when this detention is lawful, when the proceeding for contempt of a legislature or a court is undergoing and the detention is as per that law. Detention is by a competent, by a legitimate court. Detention is outside the jurisdiction of the court. Hence, if we go back to the slide, we will see that the first statement is correct. It can be issued against both the state and the private authority. Coming to the second statement here, which talks about mandamus. So let us read about mandamus. Again, the literal meaning of the word mandamus is we command. This writ is used by the court to order the public official who has failed to perform his duty or refused to do his duty. It is basically the court that commands the public official to perform his or her duty, to resume his or her work. Besides public officials, it can be issued against any public body such as a corporation, an inferior court, a tribunal, or government for the same purpose. But there are certain exceptions to this. Unlike habeas corpus, mandamus cannot be issued against a private individual. and it cannot be issued to enforce departmental instruction that does not possess any statutory force. That is, if an instruction is non-statutory, the mandamus cannot be used in that context. To enforce a contractual obligation, it cannot be issued against the Indian president or the state governors. Also, it cannot be issued against the Chief Justice of a High Court acting in a judicial capacity. Our last statement here talks about prohibition. So, the literal meaning of prohibition means to forbid, to prohibit, right? A court that is higher in position issues a prohibition writ against a court that is lower. For example, Supreme Court to the High Court to the subordinate court. So, they tell the lower court to prohibit subordinate court to prevent the latter from exceeding its jurisdiction or usurping a jurisdiction that it does not possess. It directs inactivity. Basically, it tells them to not act further, right? The Supreme Court, while issuing prohibition to the High Court, will tell it to stop, to prohibit from acting in excess. Writ of prohibition can only be issued against judicial and quasi-judicial authorities, and it cannot be issued against administrative authorities, legislative bodies, and private individuals or bodies. Which means, if we go back to our question after clearing our slide here, we will see that our first statement is correct. The second statement is also correct, but the third statement here is incorrect. Writ of prohibition cannot be issued against an administrative, legislative, or private body. It can, however, be issued against judicial and quasi-judicial authorities, right? So how many of the above statements are correct? Only two. A and 1 and 2 are correct. The third statement here is incorrect. Let us now come to our third question for the day. So why this question? This question because the National Medical Commission is about to launch One Nation, One Registration platform. What is this about? So this is basically a register where all the doctors of the nation have to register. And they will be allocated a unique identification number. And they can apply for their license to work in any state depending on where they are. Basically, it aims to prevent duplication, eliminate duplication and red tape, and allow the public to access information on any physician working in India by creating a single platform which has details, or a single portal which has details of all the doctors, right? So the first statement here about the National Medical Commission says that it is a non-statutory constitutional body. The NMC acts as India's top regulator of medical education and practice. It has been awarded the World Federation for Medical Education recognition status for 10 years. Now, I would personally consider this a difficult question majorly because of the third statement. Because NMC has been in news quite a lot since 2019 because of the act that made it a statutory body, you would know the first two statements. But the third statement is kind of difficult. So the first statement here is incorrect. It is not a constitutional body. It is rather a statutory body, right? So this is an incorrect statement. The NMC acts as India's top regulator of medical education and practice. This is a perfectly fine statement. It has been awarded World Federation for Medical Education recognition. This also is a correct statement, which means two statements here are correct. Our answer is option number B. Let us move to the next slide for today. So the next slide talks about the question in detail. So the NMC has been constituted by an act of parliament, which is the National Medical Commission Act 2019. It indeed is the top regulator of medical education and practice in India, and it is committed to upholding the highest standards in healthcare education. It ensures that quality medical education and training is given to all the doctors or the students who are aspiring to be doctors across the country. The National Medical Commission India has been awarded the World Federation for Medical Education recognition status for 10 years. This is one of the highest standards in medical education and accreditation. Hence, it is a very positive news. Now, coming back to our question number 4 for today. Let me quickly clear this. All right. So the question here talks about the World Health Organization, which has been in the news a lot recently. So why this question? Because India is supposed to vote and choose one from the Bangladesh or Nepal nominee, right? Now the question here is, consider the following statements about the World Health Organization. It is a specialized agency of the UN. WHO Regional Office for Southeast Asia is located in Bhutan. The World Health Assembly is held yearly at Geneva, Switzerland. Although it seems like a simple question, I would rate this somewhere from the medium to difficult category, majorly because of the second statement here, right? So let us go through each of these statements. It indeed is a specialized agency of the UN. You should be knowing this because it has been in the news a lot. So the first statement is correct, which automatically eliminates our option number B. Now, WHO Regional Office for Southeast Asia is located in Bhutan. This actually is an incorrect statement because the WHO Regional Office for Southeast Asia is located in New Delhi. It is located in India, particularly in New Delhi. So our second statement is incorrect, which eliminates this. We are already we have already found our answer for this question. However, let us also go through the third statement. The World Health Assembly is held yearly at Geneva, Switzerland. This is a correct statement. This also happens to be the headquarter. And the World Health Assembly is held yearly. This is a correct statement, which means statement number 1 and 3 are fine. And our answer to this question is option number C. Now let us move to the next question, which is the last question for today. Okay, so the next question talks about Prachand, recently seen in news, is a gun belonging to the Indian Army, missile in the Agni series, submarine recently inducted, light combat helicopter. This I would consider an easy question, primarily because this has been in the news recently, right? So let us move to the next slide to answer this question in case you are not aware of it. Why this question? Because this small article in the Hindu talks about successful inaugural firing by LCH Prachand. LCH, as you would know, is a light combat helicopter. So the answer to our question is D. Let us read more about it. So the LCH is very special because it is the only attack helicopter in the world which can land and take off at a very high altitude of 5,000 meters, that too with a considerable load of weapons and fuels. This helicopter uses radar absorbing material to lower radar signature, and it has significantly crash proof structure. Basically, it has a pressurized cabin which offers protection from nuclear, biological, and chemical contingency, hence, it is crash proof. The helicopter is equipped with a countermeasure dispensing system which protects it from its enemy radars or infrared seekers or enemy missiles. It is powered by two French origin Shakti engines, which is manufactured by HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Hence, it is a very powerful combat helicopter. So, with this, we are done with our current affairs question based on the Hindu for the day. I hope you like this video. Let me know in the comment section if there's any way that you would like me to improve. Thank you.